is Comics Corner. I haven't titled it. We are going to react to other people's comedy specials. I'm going to try to pick ones that he hasn't seen or that he doesn't know them very well. We're going to pause it right before the punchline, and John is going to try to guess what the punchline is, or come up with his own punchline for the bit. And when we critique them, we are not doing it with the idea that their punchlines are bad and our punchlines are better. This is just for fun.
Any sort of commentary that we make along the way is not reflective of the other comedians' talent level. It doesn't mean that they're not good comics. That's not what this is about.
Loving Thy Neighbor is Harder Than It Looks by Tom Simmons. And here we go.
Greats agree that we should all love one another. All of them agree. Buddha, Jesus, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Dave Matthews, right? John Lennon. Right? They all say, just love everybody, right? And I want to love everybody, but man, have you met everybody?
My guess is he's going to talk about how difficult it is to love people. The setup is good because there's a pretty wide base now from which we can build. We can literally talk about anything that you want to talk about now because he set up a foundation that says we're supposed to love everybody, but, you know, there's all these weirdos in the world.
Seriously, I haven't even met everybody, and I don't like quite a few already. Yeah, Jesus never sat in traffic, okay? That's my point of view.
Well done.
It's easier to love your neighbor when he's 3 sheep fields away, okay? Yes. Yeah, I think that's why that commandment's in the Bible. It was way easier back then. Like, hey, have you seen Frankie? No, I haven't seen him in weeks. Love that guy.
I like the first century Jew named Frankie.
I'm not doing that.
I thought about that too.
Love everybody. Can y'all love everybody? I can't even love my friends and family all the time, right? My wife is the most beautiful angel on this planet, and I can't love her 24/7. Where do you want to eat today? I don't care. Anywhere. All right, cool. How about some Chinese? No, I don't want Chinese. You literally just said anywhere 2 seconds. Every day we go through the... Why are you going left? You know perfectly well all the restaurants. I like it down here on the right. Like, I should eat an hour ago. Like, oh my God, now you're in this guy's bumper. You know I hate it when you drive this way. Please slow down. You're only doing this to be a jerk. This people's only 35. You're going to get another ticket. You can afford another ticket. Our insurance went up. Why are you parking over here when the shade is clearly over there? It's like cheese and rice.
Again, he set up a premise that will let him basically complain about whatever he wants to complain about now. And so we were talking about loving everybody, and we have shifted into relationship material. Men are this way, my wife is that way, and so there's conflict in the relationship, which is material that always works in front of every crowd. The way to get to that material, to make it seem fresh and new, is you have to have another segue, and so he did that.
I get out of the car, I find myself coveting my neighbor's wife. You know, she looks so quiet from a distance. Just saying, it's hard.
Looks quiet from 3 sheep fields away.
How to drive, right? I don't even say anything, right? I just reach over quietly and turn off the passenger airbag. Sometimes that works.
What you don't want to do in stand-up is say, this is how I feel about my wife. This is how I feel about driving with my wife. You always want to imply your feelings rather than stating them outright. And so if you say, well, my wife is teaching me how to drive, and so sometimes I'll just reach over and turn off the driver's or the passenger side airbag, which, first of all, is an impossible thing. You can't actually do that. There's not a switch.
There's no click.
There's not a switch. There's not a button you can push to just turn off the airbag. So what he's communicating is that she is annoying him, and he doesn't want her to keep talking to him about how to drive. But it's not funny to say that. It's not funny to say, I wish you would be quiet.
No, that actually makes you the jerk.
Right, it makes you the jerk. So you say, I just reach over and turn off the driver's or the passenger side airbag. I can't even get his joke right.
You keep trying to turn your own passenger.
I turn my own.
I can't do it either.
Rather than, you know, my wife is teaching me how to drive, and rather than say anything to her, I just open up the driver's door and roll out. You could say that. You could say,
that one.
I just roll out of the car.
So that would be your punchline.
Right. And after that, after you roll out, then you could give your wife's voice again. She says, I told you that you should have locked the door. I told you not to lean against your door, that it was dangerous. Nursery
rhymes are absolutely ridiculous. Mike Goodwin, here we go.
Oh, my childhood, because we're still teaching things to children that somebody taught us, some bad things, like nursery rhymes. Why are we still teaching children nursery rhymes?
Okay, question pops into your mind immediately. Well, what's bad about nursery rhymes? What could
is
be bad
that?
about nursery rhymes? I immediately know where he's going because I have thought about nursery rhymes in the past. And nursery rhymes, when you break them down and actually pay attention to what they are saying, they're some of the most horrific, brutal, insensitive, scary things that we ever say to children.
Which ones do you think he's going to talk about?
Humpty Dumpty.
Okay.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall and basically splattered.
Okay.
And then you've got
Any other guesses?
And then you've got the king's horses and the king's men. So we're like, let's bring the horses in. Get the horses' point of view on this. Also, Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife and couldn't keep her, so he put her in a pumpkin shell, and that's where he kept her very well. Dude, no wonder he was having trouble keeping a wife. Jamming her in a vegetable. Little Jack Horner, ring around the rosy.
You know you got 3 guesses.
Pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. That's about cholera.
Mm-hmm. You snuck in a 4th guess.
Nursery rhymes. Have y'all read these things? There was an old lady that lived in a shoe.
Okay, there was an old lady who
She
lived
had
in a
so many
shoe.
children. She didn't know what to do. So she fed them broth without any bread and whipped them all soundly and put them to bed.
See?
Well done.
Yeah, that lady going to jail. You can't do that in 2019. It's not.
The premise is solid. You can go through any nursery rhyme and then just look at the
them.
audience.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you fill in the blanks. He's
Right.
doing it very monotone,
Right.
very normal voice. He's not doing it like you would actually say it to a kid. Yeah, and just letting everybody else fill in the blanks.
So you're concentrating on the sing-songy rhyme and you're not paying any attention to what's actually happening. And you just state the nursery rhyme as if you're giving a report. You know, here's what happened last night. Local news. The old woman who lived in a shoe. It's funny. It's solid.
Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife. He couldn't keep her.
It's Peter.
I
Put her in
know.
a pumpkin
Ding ding ding.
shell.
You got one.
And there he kept her very well. Yeah, Peter has a Netflix documentary coming out next year called The Making of a Murderer Pumpkin Pie Style. That's we were teaching them dumb songs. My son
Good job,
started
Mike.
singing this dumb song, 10 Little Monkeys, jumping on the bed. One fell off,
10 Little Monkeys isn't a...
bumped his head.
That's
Mama
not a
called the
nursery
doctor,
rhyme.
and the doctor said, then it was 9 little monkeys. Then 8 little monkeys. Then 7 little monkeys. I'm like, this doctor not gonna call child protective services on this woman. This woman clearly overwhelmed with these children. She need to call the old lady in the shoe. That's what she need to call. I bet you they won't jump on that bed no more.
That's called a callback. Once you have all of the nursery rhymes laid out, then you can go back and mix and match. And you could do that all day. You know, Peter, Pumpkin Eater, and the little old lady in the shoe, and Humpty Dumpty really should be in there. It's just a matter of taking a nursery rhyme, which is a little whimsical fairy tale story, and literally interpreting it. That's the comedy. That's what's funny. Has to go get her son. That's the way we roll at Branyan Comedy Central. We have to take breaks to take toddlers potty. We have to change diapers. We have to prepare lunch. We don't just get to focus on doing comedy and producing content. We live our lives here. We live our lives first. And then if we can squeeze in some sort of productivity in between the gaps in our life, that's what we do. But we're not making any promises. Sometimes all we do is change diapers.
I guess to be continued. My daughter. Okay. Marcy needs to go potty.
Please be patient.
Don't click away.
Do not click away.
It will not just be this.
More
Okay.
to come. Comedy.
Comedian reacts to comedy specials.
Comedian
Comedian critiques comedy.
Comedian reacts to comedy.
There was an old lady who lived in a shoe. She had so many children she didn't know what to do.
Broth without any bread, spanked them all soundly and sent them to bed.
Why do you keep going?